Okay, so Ilia Topuria wants to escape the sinking ship called the featherweight division, and I cannot fault him at all because this is the most sensible thing he can do currently in his career. So he made a little bit of a rumble on Twitter. He made a little bit of a problem because he went on the Spanish, some kind of a Spanish podcast interview, and he talked about moving to lightweight and to fight against Charles Oliveira somewhere April or May. I think this is actually the best possible solution for this guy. And now let me go through the featherweight division because this division is not looking as good. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the state of the featherweight division. I'm going to talk about Ilia Topuria's prospect at lightweight. And also we're going to talk about weight gain because his coach apparently said he is 190 pounds off season, which is complete bullshit. So there is some kind of a deception, some kind of a bluff going on, and we are going to decipher all in this video. So, as we see here, the featherweight division is not looking as good for Ilya because knocking out Volkanovski the second time, you're just going to catch a case for assault. There is no need to go to prison, so the most sensible thing to do is to move on to the next contenders. Of course, Movsar Evloev and Aljamain Sterling. As we all know, in the last pay-per-view event, Dana White made a big mistake, a huge blunder, putting the two most skilled featherweights in the division, and you put them early preliminaries. This is completely crazy. Ilia Topuria as champion should be furious about this because there was no promotion going on. Movsar Evloev undefeated, Aljamain Sterling, he was ex-UFC champion, and you put these guys on the early preliminaries, and it was karma because this was the best fight at that crap UFC pay-per-view event, and so this is completely crazy. In terms of other prospects, probably Diego Lopez, but for me, not so dangerous for Ilya because he's a little bit slow. He gasses out, and maybe he has a lucky punch in him to knock Ilia Topuria out. But in terms of skills and overall everything, when you put on paper Diego Lopez, I don't think he poses any threat to Ilia Topuria. Now, Mosarev Loev, this guy couldn't finish his dinner plate, let alone a UFC fight, because this guy, he ain't no finisher. He cannot finish anything. And of course, he is technical. He's very well-rounded guy. He's a very good fighter, and I'm actually very excited for this guy. But against Ilia Topuria, it would be an interesting fight. But still, I think Ilya would be favorite in this fight. And also, beating Movsar Evloev is not going to do anything for your stardom. As we all know, Ilia Topuria, he wants to go down the McGregor route. He wants to become some kind of an Alex Pereira route. So moving up in weight is the most sensible thing to do. Maybe defend your belt against Diego Lopez. This is maybe the idea. Defend your belt one more time and then move up to lightweight because this is where the party starts. Of course, there are many recognizable faces in the mainstream. We have Charles Oliveira, we have Dustin Poirier, and I think if he beats one of these guys, it would do many good things for his reputation, for his legacy, and also he would become mainstream 100%. Knocking out Charles Oliveira and then setting up the Islam Makhachev super fight would be glorious completely. If Dana White is sensible enough to plan all this in advance. But as we all know, Dana White is an emotional little baby, a hot dog looking man that needs to be grilled. This guy needs to put Islam Makhachev against Ilia Topuria. This is number one fight in 2025 to make. This would completely break the internet, in my opinion, and it would be an amazing fight. So the most sensible thing to do is to fight Charles Oliveira April, May, knock him out, and then Islam Makhachev, he needs to beat Arman Tsarukyan, and then we have this super fight on the horizon. So, in terms of featherweight prospects, it's not looking good. I don't think he cannot topple. It's very easy to explain. He cannot topple the Alexander Volkanovski Holloway knockout because these two guys are one of the goats in the division, and you cannot get any better than that. Beating Movsar Evloev, I think it does nothing, and it's not going to make any waves. So going lightweight, I think, is the best possible solution. Of course, it's a little bit of a gamble, but still, if you want to make at the top, if you want to be recognizable, you need to take risks. Of course, now we're going to talk about weight gain because in this video, his coach is talking about him being 190 pounds off season. Of course, there is always a little bit of a truth in everything, but I think his coach is bluffing a little bit. You need to bluff your way into title contentions, into opportunities. Of course, we know Dana White, he bluffs all the time. He uses deception to sell pay-per-view tickets. And so in this video, this coach is talking about Ilia being 190, which is approximately 86 kilograms. And for a guy that is 170 centimeters, I don't think this is plausible. This is a little bit of a bullshit. But of course, as we can see here on this MMA Junkie article, against Alexander Volkanovski on weigh-in day, Ilya was 144, and then he rehydrated himself at 167 pounds, which is approximately 75 kilograms. So he is a big dude for featherweight, and of course, I think he does struggle a little bit making featherweight, and but this is part of the deception. This is part of the bluff to get yourself into better positions. Of course, in terms of his walk around weight, I think Ilya probably walks around 176 pounds. That is about 80 kilograms. There is no chance he gets 190 pounds because this guy needs to stop himself with bread and chocolate every night in order to get to this weight. So I think this is complete bullshit. So in terms of all these other things, definitely, if I was planning his career, of course, it's all about the timing. I think the best timing would be now, April, May. Fight Charles Oliveira, knock him out, and then Islam and Tsarukian. Islam beats Arman Tsarukian, and we get the super fight. This is number one super fight in 2025 to make. The number two is John Jones and Tom Aspinall, and these fights need to be made. Also, number three, I think Hamza Chimaev and Israel Adesanya. This is fight number three of 2025, in my opinion. But Ilya against Islam is something that these people need to be planning in advance. They need to plan all this. And of course, if the MMA fans are complaining too much, feed him Diego Lopez, so he knocks him out early again, and then he goes fresh against Charles Oliveira or Dustin Poirier. In terms of this matchup, this is a topic for another video, but Charles Oliveira, a little bit of a problem, but he's hittable. So probably it's too early to tell, but these two fights are very dangerous for him. Ilia Topuria is a little bit small for lightweight, I think. But the problem is I think he does walk around 176 because he is dense and thick. He's not just dense and thick in the head, he's also dense and thick, in the legs. And so making featherweight, I do believe he struggles a little bit. But keep in mind, this is all part of the bluff. This is all part of the deception. So that's all for this video. Thank you all for watching, and see you on the next one.